Hello, everybody, and welcome to another My Music Now. Today, as you can see, I'm starting with me on the screen again, which you know what that means. So when we come back, I will be speaking to the entire clan, or nearly the entire clan, because one's still at work, of Grack, Mack and The Pack. Watch the video, and we'll be back in a minute.
Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop.
You see, it worked. What a wonderful thing technology is when it works. There we go. Grace and Tom, Caps, thank you so much for joining me. The one person we have missing is
Will.
Will.
Yeah.
William.
What's Will doing?
He's making burgers right now, I think.
Making burgers.
Yeah.
There you go. Flipping patties, as it were.
Making some crabby patties.
We'll call him SpongeBob from now on in. Yeah,
It's
that's his new nickname. There we go. I saw you recently. You played a gig with the Berries in Bristol on a boat, no less. How was that for you?
It was good. It was very fun. It's a good venue. The boys were very excited about the shower in the dressing room. So some of them had showers.
Really?
Just for the novelty of it.
Okay, it's a bit of a weird thing to have a shower on a boat, isn't it? Why don't you just like dive into the water and come back out?
You wouldn't want to dive into Bristol water.
That's entirely true, especially at that time of night. You never know if you come back out again or not. Now, are you from the Bristol area? Is that where you're from?
Well,
I am, yeah. I'm from Bristol, like just outside like Portishead.
we all met in uni, so we're all from different places. I'm from Swansea originally.
Yeah.
And Caps.
I'm from Oxford.
Yeah.
But you don't sound like you're from Oxford, right? So you is your family originally from Oxford?
Well, that's where I grew up. I mean, I was born in London and then moved to
I was going to say, I hear a
like
bit of
2
London
years
in there. Yeah, I hear a little bit of London in the old voice there as well. So it's a bit like me. I live in Somerset, but so I'm just south of Bristol now. But I don't sound as though I'm from this part of the world. Don't say cider like that. And now, listen, when you played that evening, you debuted a song that or it had a working title, didn't have a full title yet. I want to know if, because you've had a few more gigs since then, has it finally got a title now? Is it still on its way towards a title?
Yeah. Well, I still quite like Grandpa in My Pocket, but I didn't actually know that was a CBBC program or CBBC program or whatever. But
that's what my son, who was there that evening, said to me whilst you were playing. He said, "That's a CBBC program." It's with the little guy in the kid's pocket.
Well, yeah, I might call it that. Just for the sake of it, something to talk about.
Well, I think what you should do, if you're going to do that, I think you should try and get someone involved with the program to, get behind it.
Yeah, it's a great networking opportunity, really.
I think so. In terms of style, it's quite you kind of draw from a lot of different types of styles of music, and I'd want to kind of go round all of you and try and glean where you sort of come from, musical influence wise. I want to start with your drummer there, Caps. There's a little bit of jazz in your drumming, so is kind of a jazz influence in there, jazz kind of soul in terms of what you do?
Yeah, mainly sort of like gospel stuff though.
Did you grow up in a church? Did you learn music in a church?
Grew up in church, so I played in church. That's kind of like my background. And then like along the way, like I listened to a lot of like funk, R&B, soul, so kind of picked that up as
Cool. I was getting that vibe. I was getting that kind of vibe. Yeah. Grace and Tom, what about you? Where are your musical influences coming from?
Mine's like sort of indie folk stuff, like Fleetwood Mac. I can't think. Adriana Lenka, Big Thief. all that kind of stuff. And then like I feel like we've all got very different influences, so putting it all together is like it's quite a random selection of things, like influences from all of us.
I don't know. I thought like bass isn't my first instrument, but like when I approach it, I like definitely like lean towards styles from like certain players that I really like. Like there's a dude called Victor Wooten, who's a bass player who's like really good. And then sort of just try and stay in the pocket, to be honest. But like that's about it, to be honest. Like all the chord stuff like comes from him that I like do on bass.
And then we have to talk about our burger flipper who's not here. But I mean, obviously guitar wise as well, he does some quite unusual things. Where does he come in musically? What sort of music does he listen to?
He loves like country and like Santa and Johnny, if you know them, like the tunes walks, like sort of like big sort of dreamy sounds, but on like a tiny little slide guitar.
And he just loves the Beatles. I don't think I've met anyone that loves the Beatles as much as Will does.
Really?
Yeah.
I've met a few people on this show over the years that have really loved the Beatles. There's some who have worked with the Beatles as well. So he probably would have loved that opportunity. You never know. It could still happen. There's still a few Beatles around, so it could still happen at one day. How prolific are you? Are you constantly writing? Because I get the feeling that you write quite a lot. Is that true? Are you constantly sort of trying to evolve your sound as well?
Yeah, I mean, like I personally I write by myself a lot and then take it to the band when I think it's something that would work with everyone, and then they write their own parts. And then some of our more recent stuff, like Tom's come up with a bass line and we've turned it into a song, or Will's come up with like a guitar piece that we all really like, and we'll make that into something. But like me personally, I kind of write quite a lot of stuff, but then don't always take everything to the band.
Now you see, we always have to ask when that's the case. So why is that? Is it because you're not confident in it, or you just don't feel it's band kind of material, or are they honest or overly honest sometimes? Do you ever take anything to them and they all say like, "No, we don't want that"?
I think we're all. I'd hope that we're all very like quite aware of the vibe and the sort of song. Oh, Caps disappeared.
Caps has disappeared. He's popped out to get some milk for a drink.
Oh, he said his whole laptop just crashed. That's where he's gone. Yeah, I think a lot of songs that I write are quite mellow, and I don't know if I want to turn them into, and they're also like quite they're just like quite personal, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't really want to play that on the stage, or I don't want to like turn it into something else. I like it how it is, kind of thing, and it's just
cool.
For me. Or yeah.
Do you ever see yourself doing a solo thing at some point? Maybe even with other members of the band playing, but it's your material as well, just to bring out those songs.
Yeah, I would like to like record the sort of acoustic stuff that I've written, sort of like how I'm very inspired by AJ Malenka and Big Thief, like how she's got her own stuff, but also some of that stuff is in Big Thief's like repertoire, and like vice versa. So it's I think some things, or even still under the same name, just more stripped back, like maybe in more of an album, like to fill out an album or something, to put songs that I really enjoy just playing, just me, and have additions from the band as well. But
yeah, some of my favorite artists do that, and yeah. I think it's quite cool. You know, they all have free reign to do their own little thing and whatever, and they actually all play on each other's records. But sometimes, you know, it's a case that there's Grack, Mack and The Pack music, and then there's music that just doesn't fit into that band collective thing, and you know, but you can all still be a part of it. It's just you're wanting to create an identity as a band. What do you feel the band identity is? Maybe looking at it from a fan point of view as well. I mean, do you get feedback from fans? This is what the band means to us.
I don't really know. Just making good tunes, feel good tunes. That's it. It's all about the music.
I think uplifting with like a deeper meaning than the surface, and very like coming of age, melancholy stuff, I guess. Also quite like chilled out, very like laid back and not taking things too serious.
I've got to ask you because this is an interesting question. Have you ever asked your audience outside of when you play live where they listen to you? Because I always think that's a great litmus test. Do you know what I mean? Do you listen to me when you're like jogging, working, just before you go to sleep? You know, when you're on a bus journey during the day, where is it that you listen to me? Because it gives you quite a good indication of like maybe where you fit into that person's kind of listening habits, I think.
Yeah, that is interesting. I'd hope we'd be listened to on a bus, because I always listen to my favourite songs on a bus.
Do you?
Like, I'm sitting on the bus, because it's such a boring thing to do. It makes it really great when you can listen to your favourite song.
I think I think that the music that you make would be great on planes, trains and automobiles. Do you know why? Because I actually think that you make quite journey-like music. Do you get a sense of that yourselves? Do you feel like it's music that almost takes you on a journey, or could soundtrack part of a journey?
Definitely.
Yeah, I think because the way we can like, I think we always like to build our songs up and have lots of dynamics on it. So, and yeah, actually, like the first song I ever released was by myself when I was like 16, and that's actually called Journey, funnily enough. But
so it's almost prophetic.
You've done your research.
I've done my research. For you, well, then, taking that on the next stage further, for someone that's got that kind of music that kind of has an ambience to it where it kind of builds emotion, etc. Do you ever see yourself getting your music in film, TV or film, and where would you love, if you do, where would you like to see it? If you could turn on Netflix or Amazon Prime or something now, and is there something that's some sort of thing that's on TV or on film at the moment that you'd love to see your music?
I mean, the Hunger Games would be great.
Something like the Hunger Games, yeah?
Yeah, like Will's Lapsteel in the Hunger Games, when they're like in all like the mountains and stuff. Like really like dreamy, but
I reckon a Disney film.
No, not a Disney film. I'd want
there are some cool Disney films coming out now.
Yeah,
there are. Yeah.
Oh, if it was in Moana.
Something to do with the sea.
If it was in Moana, I'd be extremely happy.
We could Moana 2, folks. If you go and see it, it's coming out in the cinema now, isn't it? I can say it's not actually in there, but maybe someone might do a director's cut with Grack, Mack and The Pack in it.
Hopefully.
In fact, actually make your own version of that. Okay. If anybody wants to film themselves in a cinema, you risk being chucked out. But if anyone wants to film themselves in a cinema watching Moana 2 and play Grack, Mack and The Pack over the top of it, that would be great. And just send it to the band.
Yeah, thank you.
We could start a campaign. I like that.
Yeah, good content actually. Yeah.
I do like a nice campaign on this program. We've started some quite serious campaigns in the past. Do you feel like you're are you a campaigning type band? Do you feel like that you have something to say culturally as well at the moment? You want to make a change within society, or are you just going with the flow in terms of how people pick up your music?
I never want to be too in people's faces, but then I also don't want to
be forgotten.
Yeah. But also I think probably more go with the flow because of like I think if people want to, I'd hope that we wouldn't be forgotten for not being in your face if our music stands out enough. I think if like your music stands out enough, then your personality doesn't have to be so like you don't. I think you can have a good personality connected to your music and share that online and whatever. But I think the music is the thing we're wanting to do. We're not wanting to be politicians.
I don't think there's like a significant message. It's more just like all about the music and like us trying to write to the best of our ability and sort of share that.
For me, and I don't know how you feel about this, but for me, you would be perfect band to make an album, right? I would desperately want to hear an album's worth of your material, because I just feel like, and like when you play live as well, I just love the way that the kind of the songs kind of feed to each other as well. Are you thinking of putting an album out there at some point?
Love to do an album, because we've got like so many songs, and we like don't play half of them anymore because we've kept writing and now having to like displace ones with others, and so to like have it all there and not have to just move on from stuff would be really nice, I think. But it just costs a lot of money.
Does.
Yeah, it would be cool to have an album. We definitely want to put out an EP this year, though.
We can make that happen. That's what, you know, that's why you come on things like this, is to try and make that happen. Folks, if you own a record label, by the way, here we go. All right. You've just heard it. They'd love to make an album at the right deal where they don't have to sell their soul. They would love that to happen. There are some really nice record labels out there now, by the way.
Yeah.
There's lots of stinky ones. But there are some nice ones who actually care about people that make music as well. So nice. Hopefully that would happen. What's the big ambition for Grack, Mack and The Pack?
I think just to release loads of music and play lots of festivals.
And make people happy.
Yeah.
And have a good time.
And have a good time ourselves, yeah. Pretty much that's what we'd like to do. And just be able to do it and not have to work in hospitality alongside. Because I think everyone's done with hospitality now.
Although you could really segue that in, I do think that Grack, Mack and The Pack burgers could become a thing. You know?
That kind of implies that we're in the burger.
Well, in a kind of metaphorical way, you could be. You know, you could just like. Each burger could contain a tune of some description. It could just be maybe you could sell a burger and get a free download. It could happen. You know,
yeah.
It could be an alternative to Spotify, couldn't it? Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but Burgerfi, I love it.
Burgerfi. That's gonna be a new name of a song. That
Burgerfi. Buy a tune, get a free burger. I love it. Or buy a burger, get a free tune. You know, all of those things are great. Where did the name Grack, Mack and The Pack come from? I mean, you've probably been asked that a million times, but I've got to ask it because there will be people that have never met you before and wonder where such a cool name came from.
I'm surprised you think it's cool, because when I told like my family that I was going to call the band that, they were like, it sounds like back, sack and crack, and they just couldn't get that out their heads. And it does, and that is funny. But my name's Grace Mackenzie. So in like school, my nickname was Grack Mack. I think I just named my Instagram Grack Mack, and it got picked. Like people just like picked it up.
You do realise you've just got the perfect T-shirt there for merch.
What?
Absolutely, just there. You've just designed it. So it literally says on the one side, it's Grack, Mack and The Pack, not, and then on the back it says the alternative that you just get. Yeah.
Yeah,
see,
that's
with an
great
arrow
idea.
Downwards, which would be great.
That's going to be the next merch.
That's perfect. Just think how many people would want that T-shirt. I'd want that T-shirt. Who'd want that T-shirt? Yeah, absolutely. We could look. We'll put that out there to the world. People are going to make that happen.
Okay.
Just
I hope
fantastic.
so.
I feel it's got kind of there's a kind of 1970s vibe to that name, which is quite cool in a way. You know, there's a sort of like, I don't know, it's kind of maybe like a sort of soul vibe and whatever. It's like, you know, you can imagine kind of like a 1970s album. Grack, and next, folks, it's Grack, Mack and The Pack, and you know, the cheesy DJing from the 70s with that. In fact, you need to create a cheesy radio station in order to promote it when the album comes out.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll come on all day long and do sort of like, hey, it's Grack, Mack and The Pack. It'd just be great.
Over and over again.
Over and over again. Oh, it's Bachman Turner Overdrive. You know, it just fits in, doesn't it? It just goes. It's just there.
Yeah.
I want to end. It's been fantastic talking to you. I'm sorry you couldn't get your drummer back, but you know, it's a long way to get milk these days. You know, the corner shop isn't actually on the corner. I was going to ask him about a bit more about his drumming, because I felt his drumming was absolutely fantastic.
He's a very talented drummer.
I think he's quite humble. I feel he's quite.
Well, sometimes.
Sometimes, see, the truth is coming out. It's
I'm joking. He is humble, but he is very wanted in Bristol. He's in everyone's band, so we're very lucky to have him drumming.
I am not surprised. I'm going to ask you, like, kind of a final question, really, because you don't do covers as such, which is great. But I would like to know if there was a song that you would have liked to have written, but you didn't write. What would that song be?
I think this all the time about like every song I listen to. But now Tom's going to look on his Spotify.
I'm going on my Spotify. Top listen to songs.
Oh, I don't know. That was actually such a hard question. Probably like Simulation Swarm by Big Thief. That is like the top song ever.
Is that the thing for you?
I can back that.
I think as a band we can. I mean, me and Will have covered it before, but like not live, because I don't know how Adriana Lenka's fingers are so long, but like the chords, it's like a whole like 5 facts she has to like play over.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it's like such a beautiful song. And like to play like to.
Would that be a kind of dream support act position for you?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we got shortlisted for Green Man in the summer. We didn't actually get to play it in the end, but shortlisted was a nice surprise for us. And they were headlining, so it would have been so cool to be playing the same stage as them. But there's still time.
There is. There's still time. In fact, we're going to tag them in when this interview goes out. So you never know. In fact, if you want to help, the more you tag in, the more you pester Big Thief. That would be great.
I will happily pester Big Thief.
Oh yeah, but I'm talking about anybody that's listening as well. If you want to pester Big Thief and make this happen for Grack, Mack and The Pack, so that sometime next year they do a support with Big Thief, that would be tremendous. If that actually happens, you have to come back and tell us about the experience, though. All right?
100%.
That's what we want to do. Listen, you were absolutely fantastic. We really enjoyed the set the other night. I think, it's always great when you go and see. We'd had the Berries on here before, and they're a fantastic band. It's always great when you meet a band and you like their music, and then you go and see a group of bands playing of an evening, and every band that plays is fantastic, right? It's always great to meet a set of support bands that just lift the whole evening up as well. So you did a fantastic job of doing that evening.
Thank you.
And really enjoyed the music as well. If you really like, music that's got real depth to it, both sonically and lyrically, I couldn't quite work out what's going on, but I quite enjoy that because it kind of took me off somewhere. I don't know where it was, but wherever it was a very pleasant place. And sometimes that's the best as well, isn't it? Sometimes you don't actually want to understand everything in a song because it needs to become personal to you as well. But whatever, it's been a pleasure talking to you tonight. Folks, do go and check out Grack, Mack and The Pack's music. I will be adding a track of theirs to the My Music Podcast playlist so that you have to listen to it. And then hopefully you want to go out and check out more. If you've enjoyed this whole conversation, then please do like, share, follow, and do all of those other things that you need to do. If not, we've only wasted 30 minutes and 22 seconds of your time. You know how to get that back by now. Answers on a postcard, and you can send me your Blue Peter badge as well if you want to, whatever, or your overdue electricity statement. I'm not going to pay it for you, but you can send it to me anyway if you want to. I'll be back sometime soon, later this week, with more of the same. Until then, this has been My Music with me, and Grace and Tom, thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.